Hello and welcome to another episode of the What Am I Doing podcast. This is going to be a fun one because we have an entire roundtable on this one. We have my wife.
Hello.
You can't just wave. It's a podcast. This is an audio.
Hello.
Okay.
You see me.
All right, and then we have my friend Bryan
What's up?
and his wife Kylie.
Hello.
We're gonna do a fun little meet and greet. So, since you're my wife, we're gonna start with you. Who you are and what you do.
My name is Stacy Haberland. That's who I am. And I am a high school teacher in the El Reno district. That's what I do.
Okay. We're gonna move to Kylie.
So, I'm Kylie. I do interior architecture for the government. So
wow.
I travel to military bases all over the U.S. and I design facilities to help with different missions.
So, yeah.
Just,
You know,
no big
good
deal.
stuff.
No,
Simple
no
things.
big. Yeah.
My name is Bryan Huddleston. I work for this little small gas station called Love's, if anyone knows about it.
Not
So-
dropping any. No name
Not
dropping,
dropping or anything.
Not sponsored by.
Not wearing a hat by them, too, or anything. But yeah, I am their multimedia specialist, so anything video or photo related that any type of advertisements or social media videos or anything that needs a picture or a video, my hands might have touched it. So, but yeah, so
No
the
big
great
deal.
thing is I get to see my work everywhere, which is great.
Kind of freaking neat.
Yes.
That's awesome.
What is there anything out there right now that you've done?
I think they just dropped last week. Little Debbie Donuts. That's a fun one. So I mean, I can send pictures of it. I mean, this video that took like 8-10 hours plus for a little 15 seconds of a donut spinning.
No way.
So I have that's my proudest one so
Dang.
far. Doritos is another one. Snapple. And
I did Marvel.
Oh, that was fun. That's a fun one that's coming up. So yeah, I'm doing some Marvel and Star Wars shoots as well. So
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
went downtown and people were very jealous.
Oh.
They were like, "Dude, that's so awesome!" I'm like, thanks, oh, thanks, guys. So yeah, so lots of fun stuff coming down the pipeline.
Heck yeah.
Christmas is coming up, which is weird. It's
That's-
in marketing. You start shooting in like July and June. It's like, all right, let's start Christmas, and you're like, joy! I get to deal with that for 6 months. So
I remember working at Hobby Lobby. We got our first Christmas trees, like not even just like a couple, like an entire batch of Christmas trees in June.
it seems late. Usually it's like what, March? It's
So
like once they go
normally-
down, they go right back
Oh
up.
yeah. Whenever I was there, like they were still selling Christmas items until like March or April. That's how I don't know why. I guess Hobby Lobby just exists for Christmas.
Yeah.
That and really old ladies spending $2,000 on a frame that wasn't even for a good picture. Anyway, so Stacy's a teacher. She actually just got out of school, so she's on summer vacation.
Living the
So
dream.
she's gonna be a bum the whole summer.
No.
Oh,
I have lots of plans.
really? Do you?
Lots of professional development.
Oh, that's actually fair. Anyway, no, okay. I'm not gonna spend the whole time ragging on you.
Hopefully. We'll see.
We're going to get to know. So these are actually people who might be on the podcast like often, hopefully. So we want you to get to know them a little bit. So we're gonna do, like I said earlier, a little meet and greet. So Bryan, since you just talked about loves a little bit, what are some interests that you have? What are hobbies that you kind of fill your time with?
About 95% of my time. I love a good video game. I think I've probably switched over to the realm of PC gaming. I think I might have actually said, I may not get a PlayStation 5 this year, which is that's a big step for me. That's a big boy step.
We're all
so.
really proud of you.
I know, thank you. I mean, I don't think anyone else has a PlayStation 5, so
We can cancel the intervention.
Okay.
Tear down that banner quick.
But no, so I think I've switched to PC gaming / Switch because Switches are the best.
You can never get rid of Nintendo.
No,
No.
I don't think anyone has any negative stuff towards Nintendo. So
Except
it's
for the
usually-
actual fan bases of Nintendo things. They're the
True.
worst.
Yes.
Nintendo Twitter is just...
There's PlayStation,
Salt
Xbox, and then there's kind of Nintendo off on its side. That's like, we're here. So, I love a good zombie survival game. I don't know why. Like a good, like, Left 4 Dead, or a good, like, 7 Days to Die, or anything like that. So, I love a good zombie survival type game.
Yeah.
Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, HBO Max, anything on any of those. I started watching, because I've never seen it, was Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh my gosh,
so
that
it's
series
just
is
a
so
whole
cool.
bunch of like short films that they have by different creators and studios, and they're just like little 12, 15-minute little clips of videos, and they're all good. Some comedy, horror, whatever, all different styles, and I love just seeing the different ways how they animate these videos. So that's on my newest watch list right now. Documentaries, which Kylie loves watching them so much, especially the miniseries ones that last over.
They're so riveting.
So you guys were the Tiger King people?
Oh,
During quarantine?
she loved Tiger King.
He got me to watch that one.
'Cause, I mean, the best thing about it's like about Tiger King being in Oklahoma,
Yep.
but then each episode you're like, it can't get any worse.
Oh wait,
They're
always
still,
does.
but it just gets worse. Like it can't get any worse than this, and then it's like we still have 4 more episodes. It's like he's not any
You
lower.
got me to watch the McDonald's documentary.
McMillions, that was a good one as well. About the McDonald's Monopoly game pieces. That's a fun.
Chad downtown actually got me into that one.
Really?
Yeah, I've been meaning to show you that one, but it's the Monopoly thing. Like, it's actually terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, legitimately, like, terrifying.
The only documentary I've ever watched is the one about Amelia Earhart and what happened to her, because I was so intrigued.
Did they ever figure out what happened to her, or is it still theories?
This one was a theory, but it was a pretty believable theory. They had pictures of her on the islands.
Yes.
And she was like taken hostage or something.
That's not true. You watched the documentary that
That's what this one was.
no, Darren showed us about the bombing, the
I
Oklahoma
guess.
Memorial
And that
bombing,
freaked me
and
out,
it
and I
kept her
thought
up
that
for 2 days.
The government was listening to us on everything that we did all the time.
Oh, they are.
I mean, you didn't know that?
I could not sleep. It was not a good time.
She was
in
like,
my
"They're
life.
gonna come raid our home."
I was so freaked out. It was bad.
Yeah, Netflix, video games, and spending time with Kylie, because...
Oh, so cute.
So cute. Just have to say it, you know.
Oh, you're trying to get brownie points today.
It is, yes.
What do you
nobody
want?
else can see it, but the
It's not
level
the
of cringe
PS5.
for that was pretty powerful.
Oh my gosh. That was cute.
Oh yeah, we're incredibly lovey-dovey.
Gosh.
Oh, man. So my interest, I enjoy being outdoors. So kayaking and hiking are my happy place. I love it a lot. I do yoga. Probably need to do yoga more. Just to mellow me out a little bit. A little high strung. And let's see. I do art. I do a lot of art. Mainly acrylic, some watercolor, getting into lithograph, cross
Cool.
stitch.
Just somewhere.
Just
I dabble.
I dabble. I tell people I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. Just
I feel that.
I touch it all, but I master none of it. So I'm like, oh, what are we gonna mess with today? And we'll see if I can actually crank a piece of art out or not. I have to go in with a game plan. I'm not one that can just set in my mind, just create something automatically. Like my type A, it's like, nope, you gotta plan it out. So we're working on being a little bit more fluid with my art. No, that's basically me in a nutshell.
All right. You.
I enjoy a lot of things.
Don't
I would
cover your
say
mouth.
I'm not. My nose itched. Jeez. I would say, I do not enjoy the constant messing with me.
That was.
You know what I mean?
Teach English. That was.
I
Really
do teach
bad.
English. My kids know. It's.
That was really bad.
I constantly say things and they're like, "Don't you teach English?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. Just move on. It's okay." Anyway, I enjoy teaching. I really do. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but I really enjoy it. I teach speech and debate and theater, so I really enjoy going to see a show when the opportunity arises. I love coaching. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's one of my favorite things to coach kids and to help improve their skills and just make them better. And thrifting is probably my favorite, like, non-school related thing. I do yoga occasionally. Just like Kylie, should probably improve that. Do it a little more often than I do.
I'll drag you with me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's perfect. Let's do it. Yeah. I enjoy makeup. So anytime I can kind of have a day and just play with makeup and have fun. I do enjoy that a lot. It doesn't happen very often, but I do like it. I think that's probably it.
You enjoy decorating.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at it.
Meh. I'm okay at it, but I do enjoy it, yes.
And you're great at taking compliments.
Obviously.
Me too.
Very quickly.
Me too.
I'm somewhat okay at it. I do enjoy going to a coffee shop and just chilling in a coffee shop.
Stacy and I like to stay until close. We shut them down.
Yep. You know.
Brushing the
College,
brooms around us.
Last call.
College, it was definitely not coffee shops, and now it is, and I love the change. Yeah.
It's way easier to shut a coffee shop down than it is to open it up.
Oh,
yes.
Because that's just awful.
I love...
And all the ones around here close at like 7 or 8.
Right.
Yeah.
So we party hard.
I remember we used to spend nights at like All About Chaw, which was open till midnight.
Nice.
Like, oh, we're just going to drink coffee till midnight. That's not going to affect my sleep schedule.
Oh, no.
At all.
The rebel rousers of the coffee shops.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Time to leave, guys. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I would say those are pretty much all of my interests.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else, so.
Fair. I would say my interest. Well, I guess I can go over mine. I've expressed them a little bit throughout the podcast, but I like video games. I am definitely a story game person. So if there's like RPGs, Legend of Zelda, Kingdom Hearts are my 2 favorite series of all time, and I'm a really big Final Fantasy person. I like that kind of like JRPGs. I don't know if you've heard of Star Ocean, but that's like my favorite one. It's so good. But I mean, I don't know. I used to play pretty competitively on Destiny, like Destiny 1 and 2, and then it just got really gross. Like there was a lot of like cheating, and then people like I had a horrible thing with like people found my Steam account and like harassed me for a week straight.
Yes.
So that's why I haven't played Destiny in like 4 or 5 months now. So
You've also been loving Phasmophobia and...
I love
Yes.
co-op games. Co-op games are where my jam is. Like, if we can hunt ghosts, or if we can go tackle giant monsters, or go be really big idiots as Vikings and get murdered by a giant troll, like all of a sudden that just spawns on top of you, that's fine. Like, I love that stuff. It's fun.
So do you like more story in like single games, or do you like overarching like stories like over multiple games?
Oh, that's hard, because like if you look at series like Final Fantasy or even like the Tales games and stuff like that, the story ends in one game.
Right.
Now, even like Dragon Quest, I have spent too many hours, over 100, and I'm still trying to beat the game. Technically beat the main story, but there's a whole story after that that's included in the game. That's not DLC. That's not anything. So like, I enjoy that. But Kingdom Hearts, it feels like each one wraps up in a way, but at the same time they leave you. Because like at the end of one, there's even like a separation of the main characters where the game feels wrapped up, but it's not. So like Kingdom Hearts and Zelda, I feel like they continue, but they each have their own like separate story. So I think Kingdom Hearts is one of those. I will go into the lore of every single game, movie, little show they've done. Like I know all of it. And then
But
Zelda.
do you know all of Kingdom Hearts lore? I don't think anyone does.
I don't think
really
you
go.
can.
I don't
you
think
can.
we could even fit that into like a season of What Am I Doing with me explaining it. I know way more than I should. Than any human should.
Geeks
Same
out.
thing with Zelda.
By far.
I know way more about Zelda than I probably should, but I've also followed it. It was literally the first video game I ever played. So I played that like with my dad, like on the NES, like the original Legend of Zelda game.
Oh yeah.
So got into that. I do a lot more than music, or not music, video games. I do music. I also apparently podcast. That's a hobby as well. I don't know. I play disc golf. I longboard, stuff like that. The usual things.
You like being outside.
I do like being outside. Nature
it's
hates
hot.
me. Nature hates me like with all its heart. So like I have a lot of weird animal stories, like getting tackled by a bear, like getting attacked by cats and squirrels, and
Our trash
accidentally
can
murdering
raccoon that we have never
the
seen.
trash can raccoon at their house. I
Never
opened up the
happened.
trash and it jumped out at me, so that was great.
Never to be seen by anyone else ever.
I was very upset about
I'm
that
sure the
because now
raccoon was traumatized. He's never gonna come back.
I ran into a deer in the middle of Edmond, like not
Like right outside our apartment.
yeah, not
like
in a
in the
park,
woods
not
right by our
anything, like
apartment.
smack dab in the middle of the city of Edmond. Ran into a deer. But yeah, just weird stuff like that. So interests, yeah. My plan for the podcast is to tell more of those funny stories of like with animals.
So get ready, guys.
So that'll happen. But we're going to also not just like talk about hobbies. I actually want to know like what you're passionate about as well. And hopefully you've had a little bit of time to think about this because that's honestly a hard question. Like I even have a hard time answering that a lot, like most of the time. So I'm not going to pressure one of you to go first or anything. Try not to create too much dead time so I don't have to edit. I'm going to leave that part in just because I'm going to put pressure on you. But anyway, yeah.
I'll start. I would say my biggest passion, which I think is very obvious to people, is volunteering. That is one oh gosh, that's a double-edged sword. It's like I love doing it, but then at the same time, I get way too busy.
We both
But-
fall into that
Yes.
hard.
I mean, back when we were at church downtown, I was doing video, serve crew, the occasional nursery on there, and everything else.
You
and
were pro presenter.
pro presenter a couple times. So
Literally all the things.
all the thing, and I wanted to do more. I was like telling Kylie, I would say, "Hey, I want to do let's do. I want to be the breakfast cooking staff, which means you have to be up even earlier." And
I just wanted you to learn the gravy recipe. That's all I cared about.
that's a prized recipe that I think a lot of people
The
take
goulash.
down.
Man, I remember
I'll have to
the
reach out to them.
cooking staff would get there. Like Mike specifically would get there at like 4:30 or 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It was ridiculous, but that breakfast was always so good.
you got a good sausage gravy, and
Oh yeah.
I mean that was the one thing I said. I will move to Frontline West if you guys bring the sausage gravy recipe with you guys, and
We're still waiting.
still waiting. So I mean, I can't pledge full membership
If
to
they don't
West
even have a
until I
kitchen.
get that gravy recipe. So I mean,
It's holding us back.
You have requirements of me to
I
be a
know.
member, but I also have requirements
I know it's
of you.
it's tough, but
As one should.
but no, volunteering. I love taking my time and doing stuff. I love just getting out there and doing something with nothing in return. I like just
Serving.
just serving. It makes me happy because I feel accomplished because I did something, and then it helps someone else feel accomplished because something got done. So that's probably the biggest passion of mine, is volunteering my time and services and whatever else.
So you mentioned a few things that you did serve in and that you do serve in. Are there specific areas where like you really feel like fulfilled serving in specifically? I know like there's always the volunteering of like jumping in where it's needed and like just kind of generally helping out, but are there like different areas of serving, not even just at like frontline or something like that? Are there areas of serving that really call to you?
I like food bank. That's always a fun one because then they always try and set up like the competitions. It's like, how many boxes can you guys do? And it becomes like a competition, like me to some other guy. Like, how many cardboard boxes can we like tape as fast as possible? Can we keep up with the demand? Something like that. It's like, just how many can we do? Even though it's like, hey, this is great that you're doing it. I'm like, I will scoop lima or the pinto beans that they have there like as fast as I possibly can into bags until like
flinging
until
it
they're like, you need to stop because we have 1,000 bags right now over. And I'm like, we're not gonna be able to pack these in. So yeah, I like doing service when I can see like something's actually accomplished. Like when you do like the big like navy beans or like pinto beans and like you scooped it for like 2 hours and you can see this like sizable dent. It's like, I did a really good job. It's like, or I want to try and finish this in like 2 hours, even though it's not humanly possible. I like doing it because I like seeing that fulfillment of it. So
yeah, actually seeing like what you've done and where it's gonna go, kind of.
And that's why I like food bank too. It's like, hey, you helped 200 people today. It's like you get the results afterwards. It's like you get that sense of accomplishment. Just like, thanks for helping, and you never get to see what happens out of it. So that's why I love going in that place too. So I need to go back there now since now I'm talking about it. That sounds like a fun place I need to go back to.
And you actually probably could at this point.
Probably. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my interest, I definitely have a volunteering problem. We're going to use the word problem. I got my hand in everything. At the church for UConn, I am the nursery coordinator, which, being in the building that we are now, doesn't really hold much statue, but I volunteer in the nursery a lot, in either nursery or preschool ages, just wherever I'm needed. And then I've recently joined the worship team. Woo! Woo, woo. Work-wise, I am director of the International Interior Design Association for Oklahoma City, and I sit on the board of that association for Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Did you not know that?
No.
So fancy.
Fun facts. That one, a lot of people, when they hear interior design, they think that I decorate your home. That is not what I do. Don't ask me to hang your pictures, do your bookshelves. I can't do that. I do anything inside the building architecturally.
Staircases, doorways, that kind of thing?
Yes. I mean, it can be furniture and equipment as well, but it's in a commercial setting, not in a residential setting. So a lot of the International Interior Design Association, IIDA, is really letting people know what we do. And it's the life safety welfare. That's the whole purpose of my job, is life safety welfare of the people. So my job, for the most part, nobody even knows it exists. Nobody knows what it does until something goes wrong. And then they're like, oh, that was the interior designer's fault. And you're like,
Oh, good.
great. And that's what you noticed. Not the good beauty of it, or how functional it was, or how you're able to easily navigate through my building, but the fact that this one thing failed. Awesome. So it's kind of, in a way, a thankless job. Just like, you kind of hope no one ever says anything about it.
It's like IT.
Yeah.
People only know about it when it doesn't work.
When it doesn't work.
That's honestly kind of a good thing, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of times you aren't going to hear about what you do because I did it right. They're not even going to notice that,
They're not
like,
going to notice.
this thing until maybe, oh, we've done this to, like, our building and now we have to worry about this. And it's like, well, it was planned for this originally. Now it's different because you changed it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what you hear a lot of times is like, hey, we want to make these changes, but if we do this, we have to completely fix this. It's like, well, great.
Yeah, there's so many. They request things. I'm just like, okay, well, just to say maybe an ADA person needs to go through here. Like, how are they going to navigate the space? Like, they can't even make it through what you're trying to accomplish. And they're like, oh, yeah. Like, you can't have your furniture in the way of door frames so that if someone in a wheelchair is trying to get in your commercial space, like, they can't make it through, guys. And they're like, but it fits. Like, I don't care.
It doesn't matter if it fits.
Yes, technically it does, but someone's going to die.
I can't even put this on the drawings. It's illegal.
Oh,
Oh, the conversations that I have to have with people. I'm just like, okay, thanks. Duly noted. I'm gonna take what you gave me and I'm gonna make it applicable to code and make it happen.
we're gonna make this not illegal. So
Yeah.
Passions, man. I think my biggest passion has to be community. Just like healthy community, being vulnerable in spots that are not typical to be vulnerable in. So like, how do I explain that? I guess just people in general is a passion of mine. Making sure everyone feels seen and heard, and making sure people don't feel alone. Because I've experienced that so many times that I just want to make sure that no one else has to experience that. And so I say community as in like family atmosphere with the people that I care about, and even strangers, but I care about that in my classroom. Like culture of my classroom is a big passion of mine. Making sure kids feel safe. Sorry. Making sure kids feel safe, but also that they feel seen and heard and cared for.
yeah.
But then I guess just in general, people in my life, making sure they feel the same way. That's a huge passion of mine.
I can confirm that you do that.
Oh, that's so nice.
Your story checks out.
Thank you.
It's legit.
Compliments.
Okay.
Writing the compliments down.
I also really care about bettering myself. A passion of mine is growth, and through the process of therapy or any other methods of awareness of mental health and awareness of like, you're not broken just because you want to go to therapy. It's a beautiful thing, and I think focusing on self-growth is also really important, and I really care about that. I have a big passion on that. I think for so long I avoided any kind of self-growth because I felt like it was selfish, and now I love it. I'm like, I'm growing, things are changing, like, and I really care about it. I think it's really,
I almost like who I am.
What is this feeling?
it's just really beneficial, and I think I'm passionate of making sure other people know that it's a safe thing, and it's not a negative thing to go to therapy. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you're broken or that you're crazy. Like, none of those are associated with that.
It's just a sign that, like, you know, I might need assistance to just, like, better myself in different areas that I might not be able to see.
Yeah. Or even just like, hey, like, there are things that are going on in my brain or in my heart that I am struggling with, and I need someone to walk alongside me because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it on my own.
And just like medical checkups, like,
Yeah.
mental awareness checkups can be a good thing too. Even if like you don't
Yes.
have anything you're struggling with, going like, I think I'm going to see a therapist right now, just to like, hey, am I doing good? Even like if there's areas that like, oh crap, I didn't realize I was like fretting over this, or like doing this thing that was harmful to myself or others, and like you might never know, even though you think you're in a really good mental place.
Yeah.
And I think other people don't realize, like for so long I thought that I was healthy in a way of my mental health. Now, I know that I have anxiety and I've had depression and I struggle with those things, but I'm passionate about therapy because for me, it's not just about coping skills for anxiety. It's about, why does this thing give me anxiety? What triggered that? What made that happen? So I'm learning more about how my past influences my current self, but how what I did in the past was not wrong. And I was protecting myself in any way that I knew how. And so it's like relearning how to function, I guess, in daily life and not blame my past for who I am now. Because who I am now, I mean, I'm just continuously learning. It's essentially to where future me knows better coping skills to deal with anxiety, depression, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just passionate about that for myself, but also for other people. I think it's really important to take care of yourself in that way.
I mean, definitely those two passions like go together. You care about people being seen and like known and stuff like that, especially with you being a teacher of emotionally volatile teenagers, like, who a lot of times don't realize that, oh man, like, I've been feeling this way because things happening in my life. Well, you're a teenager, so you're probably not going to realize that, but duh. So, like, I don't know, you're a shoulder for a lot of these kids to rely on, that's really cool, and it can be terrifying at times, but the fact that you care about your own growth only helps them in their growth sometimes.
That was the biggest thing that I learned in my first 6 months of counseling, is if you're not working on you, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Like, I'm constantly pouring and pouring and pouring, and I'm empty. I'm beyond empty. I'm running on fumes, and I'm not helping anybody by being that way. And that was very hard to learn, but it's true.
Yeah.
Super true.
You touched on a lot of what I've learned in the last year.
It's so good.
Like, that was beautifully packaged.
All just wrapped up in a neat little bow.
Yes.
Boom.
I've been thinking about it for a while. So.
Oh, that was eloquent.
Yeah,
I
you
like
have.
that. I'm gonna steal that.
You're more than welcome to.
Hey, can I copy your homework?
Can I plagiarize that?
I'll say what I say in class. Guys, not in my room.
Don't let me see it.
It's okay, I'll do it up in my own house.
There you go. See? Don't do it around me.
I would say I'm passionate. I mean, I'm passionate about the idea of this podcast, which is honestly just bringing people together in life. Like, I don't know. I've been the person who is kind of unseen for a lot of my life. Like, kind of like that person, like that's like a shadow on the outside of the group. Like, they know you're there. It's, oh, I know I have a shadow, but I don't really pay attention to it unless, like, it's beneficial to me at that time. So, like, I've kind of felt like that person a lot of my life. But I care about the people who feel like that. I care about people, kind of like bringing people together, making them feel seen and known. But I think I might have mentioned this on, like, my starter episode, but, like, there's a people that, like, I've thought of as, like, the in-between. Like, maybe they don't know what they're doing after college or even after high school, or maybe they just got fired from a job or moved to a new city, or maybe they just don't know what the F they're doing in life. And it's just like, how can I, like, as a friend or even someone who goes to church with you or sees you at a coffee shop on a daily and we have conversation, like, how can I help you? How can you help me? What are areas of life that you're better at than I am, and vice versa, to where, like, actual community is built? So, just kind of like, the point of this whole podcast is just that. Like, hey, there are actually places in your city where you can get help. Or there's people in the city who actually need your help. And whether you know it or not, whether you're good at cross-stitch and the other person is good at, like, calculus, like, these two can come together. Like, everybody can come together to help in some way, even though you might not see it or whatever.
Please help me with calculus.
Please?
Please?
Is anybody in this room even good at, like, high levels of math?
No.
I think I stopped at Algebra 2, and then I said, why am I learning this? Like, if you want to be a rocket scientist,
Then it's necessary.
yes, but if you're just doing measly videos like me, it's like you can stop at geometry. Even geometry, you don't...
Yeah.
Gosh, they had me take some college courses, and to this day, like, in architecture, I have not used these math courses.
But by gosh, that Pythagorean theorem.
I literally, the second they started adding the alphabet is whenever I started having anxiety. Legitimately panic attacks in math class. Like, it was not a good time.
I remember the moment that I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at math. Like, I can do this. I have a brain for it. The moment when I realized I'm awful and I'm trash at math is imaginary numbers. The moment I learned that existed, I was just like, I'm gonna go die now. Like, I'm done with this.
The fact that even exists. What?
And
No.
then you have, like, quantum physics and stuff, which is literally just imaginary math.
I just got PTSD from hearing imaginary numbers.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Cosine, tangent. They say, just pop this in the calculator and it does its work. I'm like, how does it work? They're like, it just does. You just hit the buttons and it just is.
The way to do imaginary numbers is use your calculator, but you're not allowed to use your calculator.
But show your work.
What?
But don't show your work.
I still remember that they would say all the time, you're never going to grow up in a world where you have a calculator in your hand all the time.
I literally have the world in my hand all the time.
And now the Switch, you can buy the calculator game.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, for $3.99
You can buy a calculator on
for your
Switch.
Nintendo console.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yeah. Passions. Words, things, stuff.
I think you're passionate about relationships.
I mean, I definitely have like a love for community. I definitely take my relationships with people more seriously than a lot of times they do. Like, I'm not going to immediately go to someone and say, you're my best friend and you have no choice in the matter. And suddenly, like, all these barriers that normal humans have between each other are broken. Because that's weird. Like, maybe you don't enjoy the fact that, like, I take off my shoes in an apartment. Like, some people don't like that. Some people really don't like that. But, there's just different things. Like, hey, like, if we want to be friends, like, I actually want to be your friend. I want to know what's going on in your life. I don't just want to hear, once a week here you say work kind of sucks, but that's life. And, like, no, I actually want to see, like, work kind of sucks, but, maybe I'm thinking that this job isn't for me. Or maybe, like, my job is fine. It's just a 40-hour work week, but I wish I could see my family more. Like, I actually want to know who you are, like, on a deeper level. I actually want to be your friend instead of just acquaintances that call each other a friendship. I don't know. I've always been bothered by that, because, I mean, I've had a lot of people like that in my life that, like, whoa, don't ask about me. Just ask about what's going on.
They're like, no, I want to answer you at a surface level. Don't poke, don't prod, don't get in there.
Mm-hmm. Which it is hard to open up. Like, you can't just expect people to do that.
Oh, for sure. But
yeah, like,
it's not where growth happens.
I mean, true friendship is seeing, like, the ugliness of someone. And the ugliness doesn't even mean, like, the terrible things they have in their heart or, like, even the terrible things they've done. It's actually just, like, I don't know if I can go another day at my job without wanting to crash my car into a bridge. It's like, oh, I would never do it. But, like, even, like, knowing that, like, hey, being honest, like, I have invasive thoughts.
Yeah.
Or, intrusive thoughts. I have intrusive thoughts. Or, sometimes I feel like I'm not as close to my spouse as I should be. Even just like that. Like, whoa, okay, this is on a completely, like, that's trust. Like, that's real trust. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something, like, beautiful in that.
I mean, even with you guys, I'm to the point where I'll tell you about anything, but there's even some things where it'll be, like, 2 months later, and I'm like, oh, by the way, this happened.
Yeah. I think we all struggle with, like, real relationships, because for one, personally, I've never seen a healthy one of, like, a healthy friendship where you fully trust the other person. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, in my experience, most of them have left. They just leave. And it's like, oh, well, okay, all that growth.
I put in all that effort.
Right. And so
I think it goes deeper than that, too, because, like, both mine and your parents are divorced. So, like, we've never even seen, like, a marriage that can, like, see all that stuff and stay together.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Until recent years.
I think it's just the biggest thing that I have come to learn with friendship is, like, if it's rooted in Christ and we are all focused and devoted to create a healthy relationship rooted in Christ, it's gonna flourish. And that has to be our focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny, like, a lot of people have this, like, triangle, like, in mind whenever you, like, me and a friend or me and my wife or husband or something like that, and, like, the closer you get to Christ, the, like, the closer you come together. Mm-hmm. And, like, you always think of, like, the triangle pointing up, but honestly it's kind of pointed down, because, like, you're going down in the crap together, and you're going closer to Christ, but he's also down in the muck with you, and the closer you're going down into the muck, into the nitty-gritty with each other and towards Christ, you're getting closer.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
Ooh, metaphors. But I don't know. I think that's a really cool thing, is, like, you can't have, like, man, you think about, like, David and John, right? Yeah. About their friendship, and, like, in the Old Testament, and, like, they were, like, literally, like, brothers. Like, they were, like, so secure, and, like, you can't get into that kind of friendship unless you've seen some crap together, or you've seen each other's crap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
I think having expectations of like, because we're in a broken world, like someone is going, like we're gonna be let down. It's gonna happen. We're human.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah, totally. You have to expect, even with like the best friendships and stuff like that, that you're probably gonna get mad at each other. You're probably gonna have a fight or two. Like you might be let down or disappointed. But even if it takes time to heal that, like that's worth it. And that sucks to hear sometimes because, like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to have to fight for this. And sometimes, like, Stacy and I have really experienced this. Like, sometimes you're willing to put up that fight and you're willing to, like, kind of lay down yourself and the other person isn't. And that sucks because, like, that's really, like, you're left there, like, holding up the, like, almost like holding up this building that's collapsing on you, and you're like, we can get this if we work together. It's just, it's gonna suck for a minute. And they're like, nah. And it's just like, well, now what do I do? Like, this is what I have in my hands, and I can't do anything else. And then other times, like, you do, like, it does, like, they come back. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. Relationships suck, but they're also so great.
We're passionate about it.
I know.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to say about passions? Because I have another thing that I would like to move on to that's pretty fun.
I mean, I'm passionate about coffee, but we could talk about that.
We could literally talk about coffee for a whole, maybe, like, decade.
We'll be starting a new podcast.
We're gonna be
called
starting-
Coffee Love.
What am I coffee?
Forget
But,
about distilleries or any breweries. Let me go to a coffee place and see how it's made.
Oh, distilleries, though.
Podcast.
But
Different coffee houses.
There we go.
Oh.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Anyway, we're all like daydreaming, like, oh yes. So this is kind of another like get to know you type thing, but I don't even think I've talked about some of these things, but we're going to discuss what is the worst thing you've ever had to do at a job. Like good jobs, bad jobs, college jobs, high school jobs, even your current job. You don't have to call out names just so like your boss isn't like, hey, what the F? But what is the worst thing you've ever had to do? I'll say one of mine just to kind of get us started. I worked at a gastropub. Not going to say which one, but they had a like keg and beer and wine and stuff like that. A giant walk-in cooler. The really cool thing about this cooler, this is very important for the story, didn't have a drain. In an entire room filled with liquid.
No drain.
Sounds like an architectural issue.
Oh. It's like, hey, can you come like look at this? Anyway, all I hear, I'm a runner at this point, and I'm taking out, and I go back, and everyone's in a panic, and they're saying it's flooded, and we don't have anybody else to do it except for you. I'm like, oh, great. What does that mean? Do I just have to mop stuff? Basically, every line of beer, so like 30 casks, exploded. Somebody messed up the pressure system for the hoses, and it all just like backlashed and flooded in. The door to it was about 1.5 feet above. Maybe half an inch below that is where the beer was too. So I literally,
Waiting
in my shoe, like they didn't give me like boots or, you remember this.
Yeah.
I had to throw those shoes away because we tried washing them. They just smelled disgusting and
Like
rank.
beer, but like greasy
beer, but
beer.
soiled. Like
Greasy.
it was so bad. I spent 4 hours soaking up, draining, pouring down the kitchen drain, doing said task. 4 hours getting that beer out, using buckets and a mop.
So they didn't have like a mop cleaning area? You had to use a
No.
like a sink kitchen drain?
No, not like the actual sink one, but the kitchen had like a drain
On the
area
ground.
that I had to use.
Almost saying like, please say they had that type of drain.
We had a mop area, but it was too close to the diners that they wouldn't let me use it. But nobody helped me. Nobody helped me for 4 hours. We were slow too that day. Like nobody
It
helped.
was like daytime, didn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
It was my entire day shift, but like I spent 4 hours cleaning out beer, and for probably a month I couldn't drink beer. Cause like I was just like I would smell it and be like like my pants, my socks, my shoes, like even like like the bottom half of my
It was
legs.
like to your knees.
No, it was like halfway up my shin.
No, but the like liquid was.
Oh
like,
yeah,
to
my
your knees.
pants were soaked.
Because it was like going up.
We had to throw those pants away. We had to throw my socks and shoes away from that day.
It was awful.
And I was
Very
supposed to
expensive
work a
day.
double that day and go back that night, and I told them no. That's definitely one of the worst. Oh.
And of course, they reimbursed for your shoes and your pants as well.
Oh no!
Absolutely.
To
wouldn't that be
actually
wonderful?
work there, I got accepted, and they said you have to have these shoes, you have to have these pants,
So
like
expensive.
specific brand, color, and everything for each. And that just the pants and shoes alone cost me like what $100
Over 100.
just to work at a freaking restaurant.
It sounds like a triangle scene. You have to pay this much money
Oh,
to get it.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
What?
I would have to say, Chase knows this story. One of the best jobs, I loved working there. It was a very specific, higher end clothing store that had very specific clothing. Would be the best way I'd explain it without saying names.
Specific store with specific clothing. Specific people.
And whenever we would have returns, we would have to smell the garments to see if we could return them on the floor. So the smell would be like trying to figure out if it's been used or not.
By the way, I'm not going to spoil things, but at the same time, these aren't just like, oh, a jacket.
It's not a t-shirt.
Or, these are
These are undergarments.
undergarments that you're having to smell that someone brought in, use.
Specifically, we had to smell the target area of smelling them was the hip. Is what we were asked to smell. Was the hip or the side. So
Better watch out for those smelly hits.
I will say sometimes whenever the customer would be returning it, you could tell. Like immediately, you could tell. So you wouldn't have to smell it. But there were cameras close to the cash wrap. And so they would check. And if you're not smelling the garments, if it wasn't an obvious smell, then you would get in trouble. Like they'd be like, you have to check that. That has to be done.
We're going to make you smell this other person's dainty
Returned
areas.
garments. The hips, bro. The hips.
Yeah, because I'm going to go up to people and ask, can I smell your hip in a normal setting?
like you would hold it on the sides and smell the hip.
Still.
I know. It was awful. That's what I'm saying. That's the worst thing I've had to
How
do.
can you
By far.
morally let your employees smell something that is used? Nah.
Yep. So that was the worst thing.
I'd quit. Like if
That
the
job in
first
general
time-
was great. But yeah, it was...
The first time someone asked me, hey, I need you to smell this? No.
No.
Bye.
No, out.
Not worth
Out.
it. Outies.
Yep.
No.
So I used to work at, since we're on the theme of not saying places, I'll just say one of the many chicken places in the world. There's only about 200 chicken restaurants out there, so I'll let you guys figure out which one it is. So for a lot of people, if they've worked in food or at chicken places, they know that there's always a breading station for said chicken. So it was usually a bigger trash can than all the other trash cans because you would do so much work on the breading and everything else, and all of it had to be kind of tossed away at the end of the night. So when you're wearing your uniforms on there, it would get really dirty when you're by all the breading. And when I was only limited to one uniform because I didn't want to spend like $60 or $70 because it was company policy. Oh, you have to wear this uniform.
Yep.
And I don't want to spend extra money. You should just supply me with another one because I'm working in the back. And you don't think I'm not going to get dirty? No.
Right.
So when you would take that out there, sometimes when you take it to the dumpster, sometimes it would rub against you. Sometimes it would bust because the person before didn't double line it. And it got really bad. And you look like Jack Frost sometimes after a shift. So and it probably didn't smell the best either because it's just raw chicken.
It's just greasy
Just
batter.
this
and
powder batter. Yeah, so... And then sometimes you have to do the grease traps, which are really fun. And if you don't know how to do it the first time, you learn very quickly.
Oh yeah.
how to empty those properly without it getting everywhere, and you don't have like shiny shoes and pants everywhere from all the grease. So that's probably one of the worst. I would say I wouldn't say it's the worst, but scared me the most. Also, the place Target is one that kind of scared me the most because I knew what would happen if it happened. So I worked in the electronics area, and every electronics person, they had like a key that had like, for all the safety stuff for like your Apple products, your headphones, all your high dollar items all had like a little like magnet or was like a key on there.
Yeah.
And like the first thing they tell me the first day is, if you lose this, you lose your job.
Oh.
So it's like you got one shot. It's like there's no like strike one, strike two, strike three. It's like if you lose it, you're gone with it as well, because basically someone can steal all this stuff out there and you have to do a lot more work to it. So I think it was like, I didn't tell Kylie this, like the first week I was there, I lost it for probably about a good like 10-15 minutes or so. I didn't know where it was.
What?
So they're like, so they say, please don't leave this on the cabinet because some people will just nab it because they know it's good. It'll get you basically the tickets to the kingdom right there. So
This is right on par for you, though.
So I left it on the cabinet for a little bit on there, and I couldn't find it. Luckily, one of the other team members took it, but it just scared me half to death because I left it like, where's my key? I'm like, well, I just lost my job like about a week into this, and luckily they said, don't let this happen again.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
I'm like, that would have been a very funny story to tell. Be like, hey, guess what, Kylie? I ain't got no job.
Again.
This is just me seasonal work, and I'm already out after a week. Peace.
Super seasonal.
So
Super seasonal.
that was probably, yeah, it wasn't the worst part. It was just like the scariest thing is like,
That'll put the fear of God into you.
don't screw up. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh.
For me, I've worked a lot of weird jobs. But one of them, I'll say the name, I was a manager at Reebok, and the amount of times I had to clean pee out of the fitting room.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why is that a thing?
At a shoe store.
Like, what are you doing? Like, always in the corner. Like, what? Why? I have questions. The bathroom was across the hall.
Was it like adults or was it mainly kids?
It was both.
Oh my gosh.
The kids would hide in the middle of the clothing racks and do it.
That's so much work.
It was more the adults going to the... Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was just like, why? But with this job now, I'll tell you the dirtiest, grossest building I've ever designed. Whenever you think interior design is just luxury, I did a latrine servicing building, which the whole purpose of this building is to take toilets off of planes so that they can clean and service them.
I didn't know those were removable.
Uh-huh.
That's weird.
I mean,
Well, airplanes are very modular. Like you can take them
everything
apart.
on an airplane is modular. And probably has a room, and I've done hangars for airlines and the things that I know about planes. Like, it's weird knowledge sent over here.
That's...
But yeah, that's the grossest building I've probably ever done. Because, like, even the carpet in the offices, they were like, we want things that aren't going to show if we aren't great at cleaning. And I was just like, ugh, okay. So, like, brown swirly carpet. I kid you not, guys. Like, oh.
brown swirly carpet everywhere.
We don't want to know it's clean. We just want to think
There's
it's
like
always
one
dirty.
office in there and one little conference room. Everything else was like concrete. So
No.
we're just like, oh, we don't want to see surfaces. And I was just like, okay, cool.
Gotcha. We can do that.
We got it.
Man.
Man, it's really funny with like the batter thing. I worked at a fast food drive-in that you'd have to batter onion rings, and like you smelled like onions for just like probably a good 24 hours after that, and it was awful. And
But they're delicious.
yeah, they are. But like you're like, oh man, these like look really good after you make them, but It's hard to eat them because like you just smell like batter and just like all.
It's different, like smelling it, and then like a smell that's in your nose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like we were a few stores down from Annie Ann's, and like the first few months I I worked there.
I mean,
Basically, like every break I was like Annie Ann's, and now anytime I walk past an Annie Ann's in a mall, I'm like, ugh.
I think that's what happens when you work at the mall, because I have the same thing, and I worked in 3 stores at the mall.
Gosh, I was like, you ruined it for me. That was a good thing, and you ruined it.
Yep.
It's so good for a fast food pretzel.
It's how I feel about specifically the Chinese food places specifically in the mall.
Ooh.
It's one of those things too.
They always hit different.
Yeah, but they're ruined now because I had them so often.
The one thing I've always enjoyed about any type of Asian cuisine at the malls, it seems like they never skimp out on your stuff. Like you may pay like 6-7 for it. Oh, buddy, it's gonna look like you get so much lo mein, so much of where like it's like your plate's about to bust.
Yep.
Like they may have to like pull out a second plate. I'm like, all this for $6? Yeah.
There was
like
one
the
at Penn
perfect
Square Mall that like
college
they
meal.
would double plate it every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Like a Sbarro's pizza, you're just like, three plates for this.
Man, speaking of the dead.
Please hashtag bring back Sbarro's.
Yes.
I don't know if I can actually get behind that. The only Sbarro's I've experienced are never good.
No. I loved Sbarro.
Did you expect a Sbarro's to be good?
I was hoping it was okay.
You got what you paid for.
That's very true.
Philly.
Philly cheesesteaks.
What is that?
Oh,
I was like, I can see it.
Charlie's.
Yeah.
So good.
I couldn't remember it.
There were a lot of people at wherever I worked in the mall, which were lots of different places, that would go get popcorn at AMC. That was like their thing. Like I could never eat that for lunch.
No.
You know what places in the mall always skimp you out though? The chain restaurants.
Every
So
time.
like a chain McDonald's, Burger
Taco
King,
Bell.
Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, all those, you get so much less than you normally would at one of their actual
Oh
places.
yeah,
I will
the
say-
city bites at
And
the
you pay
outlet
like $2
is,
more.
Yes, exactly.
I will say the Taco Bell at Penn Square Mall, if you're local to Oklahoma City, their food is always fresh. It's
Yeah,
less,
but it's like
but
$1
fresh.
more.
But it's fresh.
Even the things that you would pay like 89 cents for at a regular Taco Bell, you pay like $1.50 for.
But
That's
it's fresh.
Were you saying like fresh cut, like tomatoes are back? You know, there's no person back there hand cutting the tomatoes like a Qdoba back there.
But I'm saying it's like hot and fresh. Like you can tell. There isn't like that weird, gross, crusty beans.
Ooh.
It's like actual beans. You know?
Actual thing.
Or maybe they just mixed it up before scooping.
Yeah, they make fresh into the old crusty. Yeah.
Anyway.
Wasn't there a Taco Bell ad? It's like 95% like real beef. It's like, hold up,
Wait a second.
wait,
No, it's
what's the
not.
other 3%? And they had like
Yeah.
back down. It's like it's other fresh ingredients. I'm like, yes, but you gave us 3% of like what could else could it
Yep.
be?
What else is there? There, you still cannot to this day convince me that Taco Bell uses even 2% meat. There's no meat in that. There might have been a cow might have looked at something in that one time. Like no. Hey, thanks for stopping by and listening to the episode. Hopefully you had a good time just kind of hearing us get to know each other and like just kind of tell funny stories. This is going to be a regular kind of thing we do. Having conversation, just getting to know people, just figure out what's going on around us. So tune in next time. It's going to be a Bears reunion. We're going to be having my old friends from the Everything is Bears podcast. We're just going to kind of talk, get to know them, and kind of go over some funny topics and information. So until next time, I'll see ya.